Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel Easy Learning. In this video, we can see important concepts from Grade 10 Democratic Politics, Chapter 6 Political Parties. If you understand the concepts, you will be able to answer all the questions related to this topic. First, we can see definition for political parties. What is political party? A political party is an organized group of people who come together to contest elections and try to hold power in the government. They agree on some policies and programs for promoting national interest. Since there can be different views on what policies are better than others, they try to implement their policies by winning popular support through elections. Political parties have three components: the leaders, the active members, and the followers are the three components of political parties. Next, we can see the difference between partisan and partisanship. A partisan is a person who is strongly committed to a political party or group or faction. Partisanship is the tendency to take a side and inability to take a balanced view on an issue. Next important concept of this chapter is functions of political parties. Let's see one by one. First function is to contest elections. In most democracies, elections are fought mainly among the political parties through the candidates put up by them. They put up candidates for the election and try to get them elected. Next function is different political parties put up their programs before the voters. In democracy, people hold different views on what policies are useful for the society and the country. Political parties group various opinions together and provide on what policies should be framed by the government. A government is supposed to frame its policies on the line taken by the ruling party. Next function is role in making laws for the country. Laws are passed by the legislature. The members who belong to one party or the other go by the guidance given by their parties, whatever may be their personal opinions. Next function is to form and run the government. The party which gets an absolute majority in the legislature forms the government and run the administrations of the country. If no party gets absolute majority, then several parties join each other to form an alliance and form a government. Next function is role of opposition. Political parties which lose in the election form the opposition. They criticize the government for its wrong policies and keep it under check. They also mobilize the people against the government for wrong policies. Next function is to shape public opinion. Political parties, through their public meetings and the media, educate the masses about the various problems facing the country. Sometimes they also launch movements for the resolution of problems faced by the people. Next function is to access government machinery and welfare scheme of the government. For an ordinary citizen, it is easy to contact a local party leader than a government officer. Local party leaders help an ordinary citizen to get his or her work done. These are some important functions of political parties. Next, we can see why are political parties necessary for a democratic country like India. Why do we need political party? We know that without political parties, formation of a stable government is not possible. We can understand the necessity of political parties by imagining a situation without political parties. Every candidate will be an independent candidate in an election and unable to make any assurance to the people about any policy decisions. Elected representatives will be accountable only to the people living in their constituency. No one will be responsible to the country. Government, if formed, will always be uncertain and unstable. Without political parties, formation of policies are not possible. In the absence of political parties, no candidate will be able to make any promise to the people about any major policy changes and to form any new policy. Parties play a decisive role in making laws for a country. Laws are debated and passed in the legislature, but most of the members belong to a party. So, they go by the direction of party decision irrespective of their personal opinion. To gather public opinion, we need political parties. As societies become large, they need some agency to gather different views of the people on various issues and to present these to the government. This can be done by the political parties through their members. From this, we can understand that political parties are necessary condition for the working of a democracy. Next, we can see different kinds of party systems. There are three types of party system: single party system or monoparty system, biparty system or two-party system, and multi-party system. First, we can see single party system. Under this system, only one party is allowed to function. Any other political party is not allowed. Hence, no opposition party. The same party runs administration. Political party and government follow a single ideology. China is best example for this system. The only one party in China is Communist Party. Next, we can see biparty system. Under this system, in a country, there are only two major parties. One party functions as party in power, the other party is in opposition. Other parties may also exist, but they are very small. England and USA is best example for biparty system. Next, we can see multi-party system. Under this system, there are several number of political parties in a country, maybe small or big. Party with majority of representatives forms the government. Other parties act as opposition parties. India has multi-party system. Sometimes, if no single party has majority, two or more parties come together to form government. Now, you can ask this question: why do we have a multi-party system in India? You know that India is a vast country with many social and geographical diversities. People speak different languages, follow different religions, they have different customs and tradition. Some regions are very prosperous while others are underdeveloped and backward. As a result, all the diversities cannot be observed and looked after only by one or two parties. So, there are number of small parties which represent various interests and opinions. India has a multi-party system. Next, we can see national parties and state parties. There are a large number of political parties in India working at national, regional, and local levels. The parties recognized by the Election Commission are called recognized political parties. A unique symbol is given to these parties. Only a candidate authorized by that party can use the symbol of that party. Only the official candidate of that party can use that election symbol. First, we can see National Party, a party that secures at least 6% of the total votes in Lok Sabha elections or assembly elections in 4 states and wins at least 4 seats in the Lok Sabha is recognized as a national party. According to this classification, there were 7 recognized national parties in the country in 2019. Let's learn something about each of these parties. All India Trinamool Congress (AITC) launched on 1st January 1998 under the leadership of Mamata Banerjee, recognized as a national party in 2016. The party's symbol is flower and grass, committed to secularism and federalism. Next, Bahujan Samaj Party (BSP), formed in 1984 under the leadership of Kanchiram, seeks to represent and secure power for Bahujan Samaj, which includes the Dalits, Adivasis, OBCs, and religious minorities. Next, Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP), founded in 1980 by reviving the erstwhile Bharatiya Jana Sangh, formed by Shyamaprasad Mukherjee in 1951, wants to build a strong and modern India by drawing inspiration from India's ancient culture and values. Cultural nationalism or Hindutva is an important element in its conception of Indian nationhood and politics. Next, Communist Party of India (CPI), formed in 1925, believes in Marxism and Leninism, secularism and democracy, opposed to the forces of successionism and communalism. Next, Communist Party of India, Marxist, CPIM, founded in 1964, believes in Marxism and Leninism, supports socialism, secularism, and democracy, and opposes imperialism and communalism. Next, Indian National Congress, INC, popularly known as the Congress Party, one of the oldest parties of the world, founded in 1885 and has experienced many splits, played a dominant role in Indian politics at the national and state level for several decades after India's independence. Under the leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru, the party sought to build a modern secular democratic republic in India. Next, Nationalist Congress Party (NCP), formed in 1999 following a split in the Congress Party, espouses democracy, Gandhian secularism, equity, social justice, and federalism. Next, we can see State Party, a party that secures at least 6% of the total votes in an election to the Legislative Assembly of a state and wins at least 2 seats is recognized as a state party. Next, we can see challenges to political parties. Political parties face many challenges. Let's see one by one. First one, lack of internal democracy. The first challenge to political party is the lack of internal democracy within the parties. All over the world, there is a tendency in political parties towards the concentration of power in one or few top party leaders. Parties do not keep membership registers, do not hold organizational meetings, and do not conduct internal elections regularly. Parties refuse to share information with ordinary members. Top leaders keep great power with themselves to take decisions about policy matters. Those who disagree with the leadership find it difficult to continue in the party. It becomes more important to keep personal loyalty to the leaders than loyalty to party principles. Next challenge is dynastic succession. The second most important challenge being faced by most of the political parties is the dynastic succession in political parties. Since most political parties do not practice open and transparent procedures for their functioning, so there are very few ways for an ordinary worker to come on top. Those who happen to be the leaders of the party are in a position of unfair advantage to favor people close to them or even their family members. In India, in many parties, the top positions are always controlled by members of one family. This is unfair to other members of that party. This is also bad for democracy, since people who do not have adequate experience or popular support come to occupy top positions in a party. This tendency is present in some way in most of the countries. Next challenge is money and muscle power. Since political parties are focused only on winning elections, they tend to nominate only those candidates who have or can raise lots of money. In some cases, parties support criminals who can win elections with their muscle power. Such people tend to have an influence on the policies and decisions of the party. Democrats all over the world are worried about the increasing role of rich people and big companies in democratic parties. The challenge is lack of meaningful choice before the voters. Very often, parties do not seem to offer a meaningful choice to the voters. In recent years, there has been a decline in the ideological differences among parties in most countries of the world. For example, the difference between the Labour Party and the Conservative Party in Britain is very little. In our country too, the differences between all major parties on economic policies have reduced. As a result, those who want really different policies have no option available to them. Sometimes people cannot even elect different leaders either because the same set of leaders keep shifting from one party to another. These are some important challenges faced by political parties. Next concept of this chapter is how can parties be reformed? Let's see some of the measures taken to reform or strengthen political parties so that they perform their functions better. First one, passing of Anti-Defection Act to check defections from one party to another to become a minister or for money. Anti-Defection Act has been passed, which says that if any MLA or MP changes parties, he or she will lose the seat in the legislature. Next one is to reduce the role of money and muscle power. In order to reduce the role of money and muscle power in the elections, the Supreme Court has passed an order which says that every candidate who contests elections will have to file an affidavit giving details of his property and the criminal cases pending against him. Next one is organizational elections. The Election Commission has passed an order making it necessary for political parties to hold their organizational elections at regular intervals. Next one is income tax return. The Election Commission passed an order making necessary to file income tax returns also. Besides these, many suggestions are often made to reform political parties. Let's see some of the suggestions to strengthen political parties. To lessen the role of money power in the elections, there should be state funding of elections. The government should give money to political parties to support their election expenses. It could be given in cash or kind on the basis of the votes secured by them during the last election. Next, to regulate the internal affairs of political parties. A law should be passed to regulate the internal affairs of political parties. It should be made compulsory for all political parties to maintain a register of its members, to follow its own constitution, and to hold open elections to the highest post in the party. Next, reservation for women. It should be made mandatory for political parties to give about one-third seats to women. Women should also be in the decision-making bodies of the party. Next, ban on political parties based on religion and caste. Political parties which are organized in communal or caste basis should be banned. If the above suggestions are accepted by all the political parties, it could lead to some improvement in their working. The quality of democracy depends on the degree of public participation. It is difficult to reform politics if ordinary citizens do not take part in it and simply criticize it from the outside. The problem of bad politics can be solved by more and better politics. These are the some important concepts of this chapter. I hope you have understood the concept. Have any doubt in this chapter, you can comment in comment box. We'll meet you back in next video. Until then, bye.